Hey there, America. How's everybody doing? Hey, it's hot out. Free tip, follow me for pro tips like this. When it's hot out, even when it's not, drink water. And if it's super hot, drink more water. If it's super, super hot and humid, drink more water more often. That's all I'm saying. That's just what I'm saying. I'm going to show everybody how to do it. It's like this right here. See what I always do? Right there. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh, see, it's not as easy. Look at me, what I just did. I dropped the lid. Could have been catastrophic. Could have lost everything. Nah, I couldn't have lost everything. See, that's hyperbole. This is the worst day ever. F my life. You ever see anybody do that? Hashtag FML. This is the worst. It's just the worst. I hear that from a lot of people. Welcome to Spreaker. And, you're probably smarter than me. I just can pretend better. So I wanted to talk to y'all because, man, oh man, am I talking to a lot of people who are stressed out. I hope y'all can hear me. I hope this is coming in well. They're really stressed out. They're really struggling, and they just can't figure out what in the heck. What in the ever-loving heck, right? Because everything's crazy right now, right? I mean, let's be honest. Everything's crazy. Everything's nutty. It's just so nutty. And let's see, I've been alive 54 years. I think I'm 54. 54, 55. I think I'm going to be 55 in September 23rd. You're all right. You're all right. That's my dog. She wants to get up on the bed, but she'll have to not get up on the bed right now. Now, she might be thinking, hashtag FML. This is the worst. It's the worst. But it's not the worst. She's not thinking that. She doesn't care. She doesn't. She'll adapt really quickly. She'll whine a few times. And then she'll go to down. Go to down. You lay right over there. Hope y'all can hear me. I'm using this unique dual mic situation. You know, I just messed around and tried to clean my glasses. And you know what? They're just as dirty. Just as dirty. Hey, Jerry, Catherine, Linda, or Susan, and Susan, Kathy, Sandy, all y'all. Thanks for joining me. So anyway, let me tell you about something real quick. He didn't even know I'm doing this. He's not even a Facebook friend. The guy I met this weekend through Honor the Warriors Foundation and Camp for Heroes, let me tell you, this guy, John T. Woodall, holy crap is he talented. He's a singer. He's a worship pastor. Water from Fire. Water from Fire. Go to waterfromfire.com. Click on there, contact him, tell him I said hi. Tell him I said hey from me. Wonderful human being. And I'll try to find the YouTube that my buddy sent me, Jerry Morris, he and Jane founded Honor the Warriors Foundation. And I'll put in the bottom, the comments. I'll put in there, hey Marianne. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Barker Schmelke. I don't know. I probably mastered that. I apologize. Is the sound all right? Somebody let me know. Jerry, you're particular. Hopefully it sounds all right. Go lay down. Go lay down. You either can jump up there yourself or you can go lay down till I'm finished. Because I can't reach. I got this wire on me. Otherwise I would. She understands that. She's not receiving it well. Anyhow, I'm going to put in the comments a song that'll gut you. It will gut you. So beautifully done. It's a video by John Woodall. And his dad founded Camp for Heroes in North Carolina. Lumberton, Fairmount, I guess it's called. Whew. Wow. I listened to that, watched it, gutted me. I'm a veteran. And I'm also a former police officer. Phew. But wow. Thanks, Jerry. I appreciate it. I don't know how I get more reverb. This is just a little joke there. Little sound joke, sound tech. Anyway, holy moly, man. It just got me. Anyway, that's not for nothing. I just saw it sitting there and I figured I'd tell you about it. So, go lay down, buddy. Go lay down. You're all right. Okay. If you can make it up there, you're welcome to get up there. I just can't lift you right now. Y'all can't see Sissy, but she's right over here. Good girl. That was a big jump. She did it, see? She worked it out. She worked it out. Anyway, well, let's get back to why I'm talking to y'all, because I think it's important. Now, see, those who know me, y'all who know me, I mean, know me, not just Facebook know me, but know me. I tend to be a pretty positive person, you know. It's not that I'm a sunshine and lollipops blow smoke up your butt kind of guy. That's not who I am. I believe in dealing with the real. I mean, deal with the real. And sometimes, you know, you think you need a hug because you're hurting real bad. But sometimes the hug's not what you need. Sometimes you have to make a radical, bold change that changes everything in your life. Sometimes you have to do that, because if you don't do it, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, you really, it's not going to be any better for you. You're going to think that it is, but it's not going to be. And so so let's establish as a benchmark that I am a pretty positive person, but I'm not a sunshine and lollipops kind of guy. If the situation is bad, it's bad. Right? To call it what it is. If it's bad, it's bad. You call it what it is. But that doesn't need to be how it stays. You know, sometimes we have to make huge sweeping changes, massive changes. Sometimes the greatest things in our life come about because of a small change. And then sometimes, and I find more often than not, if your life is in need of a radical change, then sometimes you won't change until you're in massive pain, right? Massive change doesn't happen until massive pain comes. Sometimes, I like to say this, I say it all the time, but, you know, people don't change when they see the light. They change when they feel the flame of the torch providing the light. And now that's true. I mean to tell you, it's all right, buddy. It's really true. And I found that to be the way it is in my life. He's all right. He's on a tractor. You know I want to ride tractors. They leave those keys out of those tractors. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to ride around in them. I don't care. There's building next door, building houses, and they leave tractors. Hey, you can't blame me if I get on a tractor and ride around and move dirt and do stuff with it. I love riding on tractors. Cranes, too. I'll ride it. Well, not cranes, but bulldozers, front end loaders, the bucket things, forklifts. Fun. And farm tractors, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. It's your own fault. Now I'm not going to steal it. I'm just going to ride around and try to figure out how it works and all. Anyway, that's a boyhood thing. Anyway, so, you know, I developed at a young age the ability to tune out noise. And that's right, Lynette, you do know me. In fact, Lynette can testify to this. Hey, Shane. I developed the ability to put out of my head, or at least immediately, awful stuff. And I tried to find, and this wasn't very well refined when I was a little kid, but it got better as I got older. I went through a little dip, you know, in my 20s and early 30s, where I kind of lost myself a little bit. And then I started to realize, hey, you know what? That's right, I was a farm boy. I realized that, look, sometimes crappy stuff happens. Sometimes it's terrible, bad, crappy stuff, and that crappy stuff happens, and you know what? You can't do anything. Sometimes it's out of your control. You can't fix that thing. You can't change that thing. But you know what you can do? You can change your outlook. You can change your own personal story. You can change how you react to those circumstances. And I'm going to tell you, there's a guy by the name of Jim Rohn. He's going on to his reward. I talk about him a lot, but he said this: every day, stand guard at the door of your mind. And I'll say it again: every day, stand guard at the door of your mind. What you allow into your mind. Hey, Miss Sharon. What you allow into your mind is your choice. That's up to you. And how you perceive or how you receive the things that come into your orbit or your circle, the way you live, that's also up to you. And how you deal with it, how you deal with the circumstances. A lot of times, you just can't, you can't change it. You just can't change it. You said, this is awful. This is a terrible thing. I don't know what to do about it. I can't change it. I can't fix it, right? I'm a fixer. Somebody called me that the other day. You're just trying to fix this or that. You're right. Yeah, I do try to fix stuff. I've been around a little bit. Thank you, brother. How you doing, Edward? Hey, Danny. I do try to fix stuff. I've been around. Hey, Chip. I've been around the block a little bit. I've had a lot of different life experiences and a fair amount of both scholarly education and life education. And I've been on both spectrums where it's been the worst I could ever imagine it to be. And then I've been on the highs of my life was the best it could ever be. And then someone tells you that you're terminal, you have one of two choices. You can either say, oh my gosh, I'm just going to wait here to die. Or you can say, okay, well, that sucks. That could really suck. Hey, Miss Robbie. That could really suck. And then you say, I'm just going to crawl in this hole. I'm just going to crawl in this hole and wait to die. And I'm going to get aggravated with everybody. I'm going to snap on everybody because I'm in pain and I'm dysfunctioning and all these different things. Things aren't going the way I want them to. Or you could say, man, no, TikTok, gotta get about living. You got to get about living. You can't sit around waiting to die. You've got to get about living. You're going to live until you die. And like Jim Rohn said, you've got to guard the door to your mind. You've got to guard the door to your mind. And there's a lot that's competing for space inside your brain right now. Amen, Edward. I read about your struggles. God bless you, bro. I pray for you by name. Edward's a fighter, man. But a happy warrior. And I guess to some degree that's a little bit of what I'm talking about here. But there's a lot competing for your mind right now. The struggles that are going on, the way that people, some are unintentionally misinterpreting reality. They're unintentional about it. Right? There's some in the Black Lives Matter movement and some in the Antifa movement, very few in the Antifa movement, that they just are mixed up. And there's some on the left they're just misinformed, right? They're going the wrong direction. They don't know it. They don't know. They're just going by what they were told. And then there are some that are willfully that way. There's a darkness in them. You just have to admit that there's a darkness in them. Look, I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I'm not throwing rocks at anybody. I'm just telling you, sometimes you have to acknowledge that there's evil out there. There are people who are dark and evil. And I find that typically is comprised of the left, even though they would say, well, you don't wear a mask. Don't mask me, bro. Don't mask me, bro. You see my meme that I created? Don't mask me, bro. That's been shared a bunch of times. Hey, if you're going to join Parler, Parler, look me up, follow me at capital S, MGREENER. It's SM Greener. Super easy. So the thing is, Satan is everywhere. It is reality. And the dark one, the evil one, has taken up residence in people that invite him. They don't have God in their heart. They don't have Jesus. They don't have Yeshua. They don't have the light, capital L. They don't have those things. And so they reside in darkness. They remain in darkness. Hey, Karen. That is the life that they lead, right? And so they tend to be people who are angry. They tend to be people who are dark. They tend to be people who can grow very, very violent, needlessly violent. And so, but they also are people who, the way they manage their life. Now, I will tell you, a lot of people on the left are people who are extremely privileged. They're privileged. They've lived a life of privilege. They have a lot. They've been given a lot. A lot of them are born to wealthy people, wealthy parents, good circumstances. But somewhere along the way, their mind gets bent. And some teachers in public school are horrible and very leftist, and some are conservative and terrified. Right? They're terrified. They can't say that they're conservative because when the left's in charge of something, you can't say anything if you have a competing vision or a competing thought. You just can't do it. You have to just be quiet, or you're going to get beat up or get your car keyed or whatever. They don't much scare me. Bring it on. But I get why some people are afraid. And the conservatives own a place where, like, we don't care how you think. Just do the job. Just do the job, and don't cause problems. Just do the job. That's all. That's what we want. That's just what we want. We want you to do that. So I was thinking about this because, you see little rifts, little neighborhood rifts, and you see big rifts, community rifts, and then you see your county, and then your state, and then you see the regions of your country, and then you see the whole country, right? You see all these things, and what you hear and what you see from the left is it's all Trump's fault, and people that like Trump, right? So, well, I don't know how you can be a Christian. I don't know how you can be a pastor. I don't know how you can be, any number of things and support that, and then they'll call them a bunch of names, right? And there are also the same people who are advocating tearing down statues of things they don't like, people they don't like. They're the same ones that advocate destroying people's property. Say it's about time. So people have been marginalized and all these different things. That's just a fact, friends. That's just a fact. So I don't want to spend too much time on that, but there is a darkness to them, right? So what I do, you all know I have a counseling practice, and so when I help people, I get kind of to the point, right? A lot of times people will say, "Oh, I need to lose weight. I need to lose this. I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to stop this. I need to start that. I need whatever. My marriage is in a crazy place. My job. I have no friends. I'm mad all the time. I'm whatever the deal is." And I often say to them, well, okay, let's say it's fit and healthy. What do they do? I say, what are you doing to become fit and healthy, right? And then when they tell me they're doing everything opposite of what's necessary to actually accomplish that which they actually need, which is to get fit and get healthy. That may or may not include losing weight. Sometimes it doesn't include losing weight. But getting fit, moving your body intentionally and healthfully, doing things, drinking water and eating healthfully is the best you can. They say, well, my strategy is, and I always say the strategy is not your first place. That's not your first place you go. The real problem here is people's minds tell them that they've tried everything too. Because, right, I'll say, well, what'd you try? You're 54 years old like me, whatever, however old they are. But, what have you tried? Oh, I've tried everything. Nothing works. Everything? You've literally tried everything? Wow. Can you just give me 10? Well, I mean, I've tried this. Okay, that's one. We got one on the list. What else you try? Well, I tried this thing, and then they just rephrase what they did, the first thing they did. You say, well, that's two of the same thing, just said differently. What else you do? Well, I've tried everything. I've tried everything. No, it seems to me like you've tried one thing, and that didn't work, and that was never going to work because that's a bad strategy, and strategy is the bad first place to go. Your mind tells you tried everything, right? So we look at the circumstances in the United States right now, and our minds say we've tried everything. Nothing worked. We really haven't tried everything. Well, I've tried a million things. Well, okay, well, I've tried 10 things. All right, I've tried 3 things. It's the tyranny of how you go about doing something. Sometimes strategy, almost every time, strategy is not the first place to go. The first place to go is story, right? You've got to change your story. Because strategy, when people look at strategy, that isn't the right focus because they have the wrong story. Let's go back to obesity, right? Obesity is a terrible problem in this country. It's so common. And people have all kinds of strategies. Well, what are you going to do? What's your plan? Well, I'm going to do this food plan over here. I'm going to do that food plan over here. I'm gonna only eat lemons. I'm only going to eat oranges. Now, I'm not going to eat any lemons and oranges. I'm only going to eat avocados. Well, I'm going to eat onions. They have all these crazy things. And so they all these strategies, which wouldn't work. They'd never work in a million years because they're not sustainable. Look, we know what the tools for being fit and healthy are. They're ubiquitous. They're all over. And they already have them, generally speaking. It isn't that somebody that's obese has the wrong strategies available to them. It isn't that a person who is addicted to alcohol or drugs they don't have available the solution. That's not the case. They just end up doing the opposite thing, no matter what the thing is. Strategy is not the first place to go. Story is really not even the first place to go. It's the second place to go. Story. You change your story, you change your life. What you believe. Look, your beliefs could create and beliefs can destroy. Your beliefs are what you're certain about. Your beliefs are what you believe. You're not wishy-washy. You're certain. And you know what? Your story is often more powerful than your strategy. Your story is impacted by, there's something called the reticular activating system. Now, that reticular activating system, is that something you notice? You pick up on things. I have a hyperactive reticular activating system. I can see a blade of grass blowing. Before I got hurt, I actually could stand at one end of the football field. You could paint a blade of grass yellow, and I could see the blade of grass moving. I could pick it out where you painted that. One blade of grass. It's crazy. I didn't even know I had it until I got in the military, and they tested me for it, and they were like, whoa. Right? And I was like, whoa. I thought everybody had this. Right? No, the first thing you have to do is get in the right state. With all this stuff that's going on in this world, you've got to get your mind and your body in the right state. You've got to get the right state, and you've got to stay there. If you want to have success or you want to survive something, you need emotional fitness. Right? I get people that contact me all the time. Dr. Sean, oh my gosh, this world is falling apart. I can't take it. I'm going to collapse, right? I can't take it. I can't live with this. I can't. It's too much. It's too heavy. There's too many things going on at once. These people fighting each other. People are burning, public places and tearing down statues. They don't even know what they mean. People are shooting people. People want the police to be defunded. People are doing bad things. There was a bad cop that did something. Some bad civilians did something and killed a guy for, no reason. I'm scared of what's going to happen. The country's crooked. There's crooked things going on. You've got to change your state. You've got to get to the right state. You've got to stay there for success. You've got to develop emotional fitness. Train your mind and body to go when you tell it to without hesitation. Man, that's the secret to success. Train your mind to go when you tell it to without hesitation. Most people know what to do. Y'all, you know what to do. I know what to do. We know what to do. Most of us have incredible amounts of resources nowadays. We have tremendous resources available to us. They know what to do, but they do not do what they know. We know what to do, but we don't do what we know. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I started this off with, I'm a pretty positive, happy person. I just am. I made a conscious decision. I wasn't going to be a whiny, mopey, mad person all the time. That's just not for me. There's no point in it. There's nothing to be gained in it. And boy, I'll tell you what, when they look you in the eye and tell you, this is a terminal disease, you're not going to survive this. Tick-tock. How do you want to spend your end? How do you want to spend it? I'll tell you, I have a terminal disease, but what do you have? What about the person that turns left on red in front of you? What about the person that runs the red light? What about the person staring at their phone instead of paying attention to driving? What about that person that doesn't have control of their emotional state? Right? And they drink. They don't have control of their hurts, habits, and hang-ups. And they don't have it yet. They don't have it yet. Hey, Eli. Hey, Joe. Hey, Wendy. Thanks for joining me. They don't have it yet. They haven't figured it out. Right? Maybe they're selfish. Maybe they're just messed up in their hurts, habits, and hangups. And maybe what has jacked them up over all these years and what they've allowed into their life, they don't have command over. And they hit you and they kill you. I help a lot of first responders. I'm privileged to speak to people on the battlefield, overseas, police officers here. I'm talking to a lot of police officers in the United States. We deal with them completely confidentially, 100% confidentially. We don't divulge any information to anybody. You can call me anytime. Colleen can tell you I get calls at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Lots of times. There have been many times where in the background you hear the of gunfire. So I say all that to say this, that you, look, I have a terminal disease, but what do you have? You don't know what's in your future, right? There's people listening now that have served as Navy SEALs. Some are current Navy SEALs, and others who are MARSOC Marines, or we've got a couple Delta people listening. Hey, their world is very, very tenuous. It's very tenuous. Thin ice, man. Thin ice. Police officers right now, man, oh man, It was bad when I was police officer. It was tough when I was in the military. There wasn't as much accolade for the military then. Then we went through, it seemed to be America kind of listened up a little bit, started doing better when it came to the military and the police, and then look how quickly it changed, right? And I'm telling you, as part of your state, you can't fall in love with how it is at the moment. Because with a number of people that live in this country and the people around the world, people are fickle, right? And when you have the wrong people in charge of media, they can change your state if you let them. They can change your state if you allow them to control your state. They will lead you by the nose anywhere they want to take you. Listen, that's happening right now. I joke about, don't mask me, bro. I've done my research. I'm not a medical doctor, right? But I have advanced research degrees. I have doctoral degrees. I have graduate, undergraduate, and postgraduate degrees. I'm a pretty good researcher. I know where to go for information that's trustworthy. Hey, Terrence, how you doing? Talk about a good cop. Eli, thank you for your service, brother. LLTB. But I'm going to tell you something. Look now. I just want you to put yourself in sort of that place 4 months ago. Law enforcement was heralded. Still under the gun, don't get me wrong, but heralded. Military members, listen, you received accolade due to you. Respect due to you. Booyah. But I'm going to tell you something. You can't get married to how the world state is. Because if the media decides to affect a change, they can do it. They have a huge, the really bad people are behind the media. And they will do things to change the narrative. We say that all the time, change the narrative. Nancy Pelosi admitted on video that they tell a lie, they will plant a lie to the newspaper, get the newspaper to report it, and then they will refer to that newspaper article to back what they know originally is a lie and justify the means. It's a Saul Alinsky tactic. Look how fast, and what I'm saying to you now is you've got to develop some emotional fitness because you cannot depend on other outside influences to determine how you feel, how you view yourself, how you care for yourself, how you conduct yourself. You can't do it. And the reason you can't do it, you cannot rely on them, is because they have nefarious intent. So you have to develop emotional fitness. You have to learn to tell your body and your mind to go. And then when you tell it to go, you teach it to do so without hesitation. Remember what I said a minute ago. Most people know what to do. They know what to do, but they don't know. They don't do what they know. It's the one thing you can totally control in your life, but most people permit themselves to allow someone else to influence their state, their emotional state, their state of being. They allow outside forces to impact them. The media, the neighbor that's crabby. I have great neighbors, so I don't have that problem. Maybe the crazy family member, maybe the angry family member. Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your kids are jerks. They're teenagers, and all of a sudden they know everything, right? You know nothing. Could be your boss. It could be any number of things. It could be illness. It could be dysfunction in your physical body. You've got to find a way to develop emotional fitness so that something or someone else isn't controlling your state. You are. One of the ways to do that is through empowering emotions. Look, this is how people describe me. People that know me and describe me. You can think this is arrogant or not. I don't know that all of the things, and I'm going to be real with you here. So you're going to see the flip side of this. This isn't just sunshine and lollipops. When people are asked to describe me, right, I've done seminars for thousands and thousands of people. I do a seminar for women called Looking Forward to Being Attacked. I do keynote speaking and teach them how to survive and thrive. Not just survive, but thrive in a dangerous world. And I love going to do that. And at those, I find, it's interesting to have them fill out the reviews, of what you do. And then I ask them to describe me. Describe me with one word. And then I've done this over the years with other people, people that know me really well and people that have a perception of me. And this is what they say. Well, he's a winner. Really smart. Funny. Caring. Kind. Compassionate. A man of great faith. I like it when they say I'm sexy, but that doesn't seem to be happening as often lately. Hint, hint. Interested in life. Fascinated by life. Strong. Finder of options, choices, overcomer. Right? Those are empowering emotions, but here's some disempowering emotions. Here's some emotions that I would describe me. Sad. Disconnected. Ineffective. Unattractive. Weak. Powerless. Disrespected. Unworthy. Poor. Optionless. Tired. In pain. Listen, you could pick two, you could pick one from either one. You could pick two or one from either one. The empowering emotions, you could pick one or two or how many, and you could pick one or two or how many of the disempowering emotions. Positive emotions can be trained to overpower negative emotions, and you do that through your attitude. I started this by saying I have a positive attitude, right? But I've developed that positive attitude. I've invested in learning how to do that. Somebody the other day who I deeply respect, who has read everything I've ever written, I think, has listened to every speech, described me this way. They said, "You're really smart. Your faith is inspiring. You are compassionate. You create in people that emotional change that comes from all of those things into powerful joy in others." I burst into tears and I cried for 10 minutes. I don't want to die right now, but I could. Right? Because remember those negative things: sadness, disconnected, ineffective, unattractive, weak, powerless, disrespected, unworthy, poor, optionless, tired, and in pain. Sometimes people describe us better than we describe ourselves, and sometimes people describe us in a way that is wholly and completely inaccurate and intended to harm you. You can't live off of them. You can't wait to get a bunch of these positive things thrown your way. Well, I'll get motivated when. No, action brings motivation, not the other way around. Well, when I get motivated, I'll take some action. No. It doesn't work that way. Action, doing, brings motivation. You have to take action on yourself. You have to work on yourself no matter your age. This is your emotional inventory. This is your emotional state. And that drives your emotions. And that is within your power to control. You change your state, you change your story. You have an old story and you have a new story, right? Some people live always in their old story. The Bible has a bunch of stories in it I think are fascinating, right? It's a fascinating library of 66 contiguous books written by many different authors over a period of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? There's a passage in the Bible that talks about hunting dead lions. And it says, I'd rather be a dying dog than to hunt dead lions. Some of us, that dead lion is when we did well. We did something well. Maybe it was in high school. You were a star football player, a star tennis player, basketball player, whatever. You were a star in whatever it is you did, and you were really, really hitting your peak. You were doing well. You didn't know what was your peak. But then you never excelled again. Something happened and caused you to live in fear. I talked to a lot of guys who have gone through BUD/S and who are Navy SEALs. That for whatever reason, I talked to a lot of SEALs, and I'm privileged to do so, and a lot of dear friends. And when asked, if you ask a Navy SEAL who has been successful in the field, and they've been on the teams, different teams, they've done well no matter where they've been. And if you were to ask them, did you think you could finish BUD/S? It's the hardest military training there is. Do you think you can finish BUD/S? The answer is always the same. Hell yeah, I thought I could finish it. I knew I could. I didn't think I could. I knew I could. Mental state. Well, I hope the drill instructor is not going to do surf torture for 2 hours again. That really sucked. That was a whole bag of suck. Yeah, it pays to be a winner, but you know what? Sometimes you're not first, and you got to be able to deal with that. A lot of other people in a lot of different other places in life have had to struggle hard for things, and they've been through hard things. Maybe mom and dad were both alcoholics. Maybe they drank themselves to death. I'm helping somebody right now who is, golly, I mean, the poor thing is just in such a difficult position. And I hate that they are. I hate that they are. Mom and dad have done horrible things. They've been terrible leaders to them. And they've left shrapnel in their kids. And now their kids are adults and they're struggling. And I hate that. I hate that. But that, like everything else, can be overcome. Change your state, change your story. Change your state, change your story. Listen, human physiology, you can change everything by changing even your posture, right? So my spine, because of my disease, is collapsing. So I was 6'4", and now I'm 6'3.5". Then I'll be 6'3" if I live long enough, because my spine is collapsing. It's fallen in. And Dr. David Friedman, who I love dearly, worked on me today. World famous doctor, best-selling author many times over, has the #1 health and wellness radio show in the world. The guy, you know, I'm so privileged that he's my friend and he's my doctor. You know, he worked on me today, and I'm a lot better than I was. But I'll tell you, this morning I could barely walk. I could barely walk. I'm being just real with you. I could barely walk. It was all I could do to get to the car to get to the doctor. And a bunch of crazy things happened, you know, when I first got there. And, you know, you can allow things to just frazzle you, right? That guy that cuts you off, the guy that, you know, the person's not paying attention and they're eating their donut and driving and putting on their mascara. And they come over, you have to swerve, and you just got your car washed, and now your car's all dirty on one side. You could allow that to just frost you, right? Right? There's a neighborhood thing going on, and there's competing attitudes, right? You could allow this little thing, to really frost you, to really get you amped up, to really turn your story, turn your state negative. I just made a conscious decision a long time ago. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. It doesn't pay dividends. It doesn't pay dividends. Listen, I think of pain and struggle as tuition. I really do. It's tuition. It's all designed where I can either learn from it and grow from it, or I can let it make me die. Science tells us the moment we stop growing, we start dying. I just don't want to be that guy. I don't know about you. I don't know what you're going through. Did you know that 5 minutes of anger shuts your immune system down for 5 hours? 5 minutes of anger. Now, I'm not saying to you that you should never get angry, right? Because anger has a purpose. There's a purpose in anger. But perpetual anger, if you're always angry, it destroys your body. It destroys your physiology. Destroys, when you're angry all the time, and I'll even say when you're around angry people all the time, brings you down, doesn't it? I say don't be around those people. Don't be around those people. Don't spend a lot of time with those people. Look, if you can't avoid it, limit it. If you can't limit it, control it. Somebody starts yelling at you on the job site that's not your boss, doesn't work for your company, put your hands up like this. Whoa, whoa, hey, you're yelling at the wrong guy. You're yelling at the wrong guy. And you're not going to keep yelling at me. I wish you the best, man. I did my best on this job, but I don't have anything to do with this. And I'm not going to stand here and let you yell at me. So I'm going to go on and go. You know who to call. Look, you said it sounds easy. I get it. I get it. It's not always easy. So let's put this in the perspective of the anger that's going on right now. Right? Because there's rumors. There's not rumors now. I mean, look at many states right now are going, I don't know where you stand on masks and COVID and all these things. You all know where I stand. If anybody that follows me for 5 minutes knows where I stand on this whole mess that's going on. You know, my thing is the science and the math, they don't add up. They just don't add up. The best masks used by the general public interrupt only, now I say interrupt because that's the correct scientific term. They interrupt 0.4 microns. But listen, assuming they're airtight, which they aren't. You would have, if you're wearing your mask properly, you would have red marks. Contiguous red mark from here to here, down, and all the way across. The only way a mask works is if it's sealed airtight. I don't care what mask you have. If it's not sealed, it will not help you. And it won't help the other person. Look, it's not a matter of being selfish. Virulent particulate is up to 0.1 micron, right? So 4 microns is big. And that's what the masks that are commonly available do. Go down to 0.1 micron. That's the virus. That's the particulate that the virus rides on. That's the cells that make you sick. Masks aren't intended to stop that. And they don't. A surgeon and a surgical team, they wear masks for an entirely different reason. While they're operating, right, it's to protect any debris from them getting into the person they're operating on, right? That's what it's for. That's what it's for. And if that person has a highly transferable, communicable, dangerous disease, they'll be, in addition to being suited up in their surgical gowns and their surgical gloves, they may double up their gloves. And they're going to wear not just a mask, but they're going to wear this sort of fashioned hood. It's going to have a shield, right? I've had my knee done twice, and when they do that, they're wearing spacesuits. Why is that? Because they're drilling into my bone. They don't get chunks of greener bone all up on them. And that's bloody and messy. They don't want blood all up in their face, especially if it's my blood. Hey, Miss Deanie, happy anniversary to you and Pastor Homer. Love you. Love you both. I wish I could have seen you on your anniversary. Boy, more dear people you never meet in your life. So they wear these outfits, and they are way way more than we could ever imagine wearing in our daily life. Look, I saw a guy stop by the grocery today, just sitting there. I was thinking about going in. I stopped there, and I saw this fellow driving up. I saw more than one driving up by himself, gloves on, rubber gloves, blue nitrile gloves, and a face mask in the car by himself. I thought to myself, man, you must be really sick if you're afraid to get yourself sick. But I didn't say anything to him because you know what? That's his right. I said this on Facebook and social media posts, and folks were taking shots at me because I said, hey, you wear a mask if you want to, but don't mask me, bro. Oh, well, clearly your doctorate isn't in medicine, or you would be wearing one. Relatively smart guy. I'm pretty good at research. I did write a few books. Anyhow, wearing masks is neither effective nor is it about stopping the spread or slowing the spread or flattening the curve. Really, it's not. It's all about gaining compliance. Public compliance. It's about easily identifying the compliant, but more importantly, the non-compliant. Look, it's your right to wear a mask if you want to wear a mask. I encourage you to recall early days. Remember this? Back in the early days of all this mess, remember when they said, oh, no, you don't need a mask. Fauci and Birx, everybody, the CDC, NIH, WHO, NAIDC, all of them said, you don't need a mask, they won't help you. Don't go out and buy a mask. Don't run around wearing a mask. It won't help you. And then several weeks later, they reversed course after admitting, well, yes, we did lie to you. We did. We lied to you. Now, lie. We told you that because we didn't want a big run. We didn't want a big run on masks. Well, we need to make sure that the doctors and the nurses and the medical professionals, they all had enough masks. That was important to us. So that's why we told you that thing that wasn't true. They admitted that they lied to you, but they said, well, but it was for your own good. Now I ask you, if what they're saying now was correct then, who's going to jail for all the deaths and the illnesses that they caused with their lie? Because remember, I want you to think about this. I want the president to think about this. President Trump, I want you to think about this. That guy that you're relying on that I know you're very suspicious of. He's a registered Democrat. Dr. Birx, registered Democrat. Person running the CDC, registered Democrat. He goes across the aisle. He says, hey, can you do the job? I don't care what's after your name, a D or an R. I don't care. Can you do the job? Are you good at what you do and you're going to do a good job? Right? I don't believe he trusts them. But Mr. President and all of America, I want to ask you, what do we do with the truth that is the sick and the compromised, those that died? If what they're saying about masks is true, why aren't they being prosecuted for lying to the American people and telling us for weeks, you don't need a mask. Don't go buy one. Have you thought about that? Have you considered that? Have you considered the impact of that? Look, hey, listen, I love people. I talked about it. I love people. I'm the guy that wants to fix things. I'm described that way all the time. I want to be a helper. I want to pull people together instead of push people apart. But the sick and the compromised, you are welcome to remain in your home. You're welcome to stay in your home. I encourage that. Listen, it just has been the case. You can continue having food delivered. You can continue having, paper products or whatever you need. You absolutely. I encourage that. I don't want you to come out. If you're fearful, if you have underlying medical conditions, don't do it. You say, well, you have underlying medical conditions. You're darn right. I'm at super high risk. If this thing is what they say it is, I get it. I'm a goner. I can't be intubated. I can't be put on a respirator. You say, well, then, what are you saying here? I'm saying I'm not going to live my life on my knees. I am not going to live my life. Listen, America, the title of this is America Well? Well, America? Are you going to live it? When have we ever accomplished anything by retreating? Can you remember a time ever in your life where they quarantined the healthy and the sick together? There isn't. It's the first time in history. It's never happened. And look, I'm saying the percentage. I want you to understand the percentage of mortality is quite low. The transmissibility, it's only described as infectious, and you understand there are many grades of infectious. Infectious is the lowest grade. That means I can get it from you, one way or the other, whether by touching you or by you laughing or breathing or coughing on me, whatever the case may be, gets into my eyes. That's your number one. By the way, we talk about the mouth, but the eyes are where you get the disease. We're protecting this, and we're running around with no protection for our eyes. The eyes are the number one place. Look it up. It's free of charge. Look it up. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that this isn't dangerous. I'm not saying it isn't real. But what I am saying is the rate of infection and the rate of deaths of actual Chinese Communist Party COVID-19 is intentionally it is nefarious and dastardly how they're doing this, but it is intentionally being blown wildly out of proportion for perceived political gain. Let's stop saying, isn't it interesting how this or that? Let's start acknowledging that you're not a nut job for going, I've noticed that every time we start to gain some oomph back in our economy, and every time President Trump starts to get, do some positive things, and you can't not acknowledge them. The press can not acknowledge them, but you see the things. You see the economic numbers. You see the stock market. You see all these things. Every time that starts to turn positive, all of a sudden we have Fauci telling us we could lose 100,000 people a day. We could literally lose 100,000 people a day if we don't stop this. If we don't do something different, this is the same putz that is wrong more than the weatherman. You say he's an accomplished doctor. He's an accomplished virologist. All of these things, you say those things. You say after you said yourself, Dr. Sean, you don't have a doctorate in medicine or science. You're absolutely right. I don't. But I don't trust the little guy. I don't trust him. I think he's a liar. I think his intent is nefarious. I think that he is part of a greater problem. And I know that he stands to profit. The longer this goes on, the longer he profits. And I get it. You think, why in the world would somebody be like that? Back to the mask real quick. Life is a contact sport, right? It's inherently dangerous. Going down the road right now, right? If I choose to ride my trike right now, which I can't do because it's 85 degrees, feels like 101. Okay? Yeah. I was outside helping my new neighbor catch her dogs. Dogs ran off and jumped into a big old giant puddle down the street. And she was having trouble getting them to come to her. So I went out. I was only out there about 10 minutes. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I came back inside and I was drenched in sweat. Now, I've never met those dogs before. I don't know how those dogs treat people. I don't know if they're kind. They're big dogs, right? I took an inherent risk. It wasn't even a calculated risk. It was an inherent risk. That's risky. I could go up in there. Going up to that pond, there's snakes in that pond. There's copperheads and rattlesnakes around here. I'm running up over there. The homeowner, even though he's a super nice guy and she's a super nice lady, they could be ticked off that I'm running onto their property trying to grab two dogs. I don't even know their names. It's an inherent risk. There's any number of things that could have happened. It's a risk. You just take it. Or you don't. As for me, look, what am I going to do? I'm going to keep taking healthy supplements that they say will help us. Dr. David Friedman, you go to his page, Food Sanity. It's a Food Sanity forum. He has a book called Food Sanity. There's other part to the name, Food Sanity. It's a best-selling book on health and wellness. He won the biggest award you can win as an author. So there you have that. Amazing. He happens to be my doctor. How lucky am I? Right, so he discussed. I brought him up because he discusses foods you can eat to boost your immune system. supplements you can take to boost your immune system. I'm going to take those things. I'm going to eat those things. I'm going to continue to wash my hands, and I'm going to wash my face. But guess what? I used to wash my hands and face all the time before. I'm going to get outside and get in the sun and the air. But let me tell you something. I went out there. I told you. It was 10 minutes I was out there. I was drenched in sweat. Sweat's pouring off my face. I could barely. So I got inside. I said, "Oof, well, I'm feeling kind of wobbly." Right? Better sit down. Don't want to fall and bump your head. But I took a risk. Look, the riots, the funerals, the property destruction, the violence, the murders, the rapes, they're being permitted and in many cases politically encouraged. Right? You see Seattle, the CHOP. That's an insurrection. That's a theft of property that they allowed to go on and on and on. They allowed 2 murders to happen. They allowed several rapes to happen. Many, many thefts, many robberies to happen. My thought is, you're going to not like me, and you say this is not very pastorally, but I don't really give a rip. I just don't care. I don't care. I'm not going to lie to you and say I care about those people that died. I don't care. Every life is precious, Dr. Sean. Lord said so. Every life is precious. No. You go in to get into an environment like that intentionally, part of which you also help create. Dangerous. You took an inherent risk. People go boom, boom in those places. People stab people. People rape people. That's how they are up in there. You're talking about political. This same mayor said, no, it's going to be a love fest. It's going to be love summer of love. And now she's forced politically to take action. And she does so apologetically. So now they're going in, they're arresting people. I don't know how many people are arrested. Last count was like 23 or something. Hundreds of millions of dollars of damage within that one 9-block area. You say, well, who's going to pay to fix that? Yeah, there's the big question. Who's going to pay to fix it? You are. America. You say, well, I don't live in Seattle. That's not how it works, my friend. That's not how it works when it has some big thing. You know all those big payments that the people who died, most people don't know this, but the people who died, and I don't know where you stand on it, and I'm not going to share where I stand on it, but most of the families of people who died in 9/11, in the 9/11 attack, were very highly compensated. You say, where? How did the money? What? Well, there was a fund established, right? Well, who contributed to that? You did. You paid. Now, if you don't live in New York, you still paid. Now, you can debate whether or not that's right or wrong, right? But look at what's happened all across the country. Businesses shut down. Churches shuttered. Many churches will not survive this. They're done. They've boarded up their windows and walked away. Nothing they can do. Millions and millions of people on public assistance. Right? Unemployment. Millions. You think I'm a little out of my mind for suggesting that the left knows that many people will vote for those they perceive are supporting them. They create a problem or need when there is no problem or need. Just like these race hustlers. Right? These race hustlers create a situation that isn't there so that they can then profit from it. And they make hundreds of millions of dollars off of it. And they don't care what cities burn. They don't care. That's insidious and it's evil. But I want to tell you this. You don't have to crumble because of it. You don't have to allow your state to be defeated. Your state, here and here, you don't have to allow your state to be defeated. I don't know how many months it is to November 3rd, but I know this. It's not that far away. It's not that far away. July, August, September, October, November. Right? Less than 5 months. Less than 5 months. You've got to get your state right. You've got to find a way to get focused on what is important. Focus on what is important. Understand that you right now, of all times, you've got to put away. You've got to stop beating yourself up over past pains and injuries to you, whether real Imagined, self-caused or caused by somebody else. Make your life better by doing better. Take good action with good strategy. You got to know what you know. You got to know what you want. You got to know what you need. Courage. You've got to have courage. Courage is action despite your fear. And you cannot get to the future. We cannot get to November 4th with President Trump as president. And I'm telling you right now, we said it to you in 2016, if Joe Biden wins, we are ruined. We are ruined as a country. Not mildly discomforted, ruined. Country is done. The country is done. But you know what? We cannot get to our future by keeping our face in our rearview mirror. We can't do that. You got to stop telling the old story. You got to stop. We know that was bad. We know this. We got to move forward. We got to look forward. So listen, don't be hung up with that. Don't be hung up with looking back. Don't be hung up with fear. We can't have fearful right now. We can't have overly tired. We can't have people who are quitting. We can't have fence sitters. You've got to decide, resolve, and stand. You've got to decide who you're going to be and what you're going to be. You've got to decide what place you're going to play in this. This is history, right? The left has shown you, the anarchists have shown you, this is insurrection, right? This is insurrection. And they have said that there are more of us police. These are the anarchists and the leftists. These are the Democrats saying there are more of us than there are of you, police officers. We outnumber you. We're going to tell you how it is. And that's what they've done. That's what they've done. All across America, Democrat cities burned. Looting is the wrong title. Burglarizing and felony theft. And in some cases, murder. Ask yourself how you want to live. It isn't like this. I'm an optimist, and I'm encouraging you to be an optimist. But to bring about the most successful outcome, you've got to let go of your past old story, and you've got to create a new story. And that is as patriot. That is as patriot, because your children are going to ask you. They're either going to ask you, their grandchildren are going to ask you. They're going to ask you two questions, one of each, one of either. Why are we no longer free? Why is it awful like this? Or, how did this country get so great? We had a generation of patriots come and found this country. Then we had another generation of patriots come. The greatest generation, the World War II generation. And now it's our turn. It's our turn. Stop tearing each other down. Lift each other up. Don't be canceling people because you don't like something they say on Fox or whatever. One negative thing out of 20 that you hear that are good. Toughen up. Strengthen up. Look up. Pray. And then get to work. It is that important. George Washington was really moved when he was at Gettysburg and he looked down and he saw the bleeding feet of his soldiers. He realized they didn't have shoes on. It was freezing. They were frostbite. Toes were falling off. Their feet were black and dirty and bleeding. And he asked the soldiers, "Why do you continue to fight?" And they said, "Because these are barefoot in the snow days." And that is where we are. Be strong. Well, America, which are you going to be? A quitter or a winner? A victim or a victor? God bless you and keep you. Share this with whoever you know.